Welcome to Vow Glow with Pastor J. My name is Juliana Anake Ugu, and this is a conversation on before and after vow. Here, we are about issues before the wedding and after the wedding. Otherwise, looking at having beautiful relationships and happy marriages. Today, I want us to discuss on 3 reasons why your marriage must work. 3 reasons why your marriage must work. Number 1, we are relational beings. We're created to thrive in relationships. And in the very many relationships that we are supposed to have on earth, beginning from the one in the family, between a child and the parents, and a child and siblings, there are other relationships outside of all of those ones. There comes a time in every individual's life where we desire that one person. The Bible says that it is not good that man should live alone. So when we get to a certain age as individuals, we begin to desire, we begin to look for, we begin to want to have that particular individual in our lives with whom we can have that very special relationship. So every human being needs that relationship. And though it is not in children, but becomes a certain time, it's not at a particular age in everybody's life. So when people get to that age, they become uncomfortable alone. So in the midst of a crowd, the person feels alone. In a gathering where there are lots of people, in a home, everywhere, the person begins to feel alone. So there is a yawning gap in the person's heart. There is a space that needs to be filled, a vacuum in that person's heart. I call it the spouse-sized vacuum. Like there is a God-sized vacuum in every human being, where people try to fill, where people who do not have God in their life try to fill that vacuum with other vices. So it is with a spouse-sized vacuum. When people come to that time in their lives and do not have that singular individual, they begin to try to fill that vacuum with other things. They try to fill that vacuum with people. They try to have special people fill that spouse-sized vacuum in their hearts, and they do all manner of things. So we are created to thrive in relationships. As a man, as a woman, there comes a time in your life where you begin to look for, you begin to ache, begin to crave the companionship of that one person, because as individuals, as human beings, we are wired to function like that. That's how we were created. There is no excusing it. There is no pushing it aside. There is no there is no sidestepping it. There are some people who take the oath of celibacy, like Catholic priests and nuns, and some other people who take the oath of celibacy. That's a different thing. That means the person has to intentionally, deliberately put the flesh under to be able to live and to thrive without that special relationship with someone, with that special somebody. But otherwise, generally, every individual needs that single person in their lives at a certain time in their lives. So we need to have that person. God made it so, and He ordained it to be like that. It is an ordinance in creation. He says Himself, this is how I created you to function. So we need that person. So your marriage must work so that you do not join yourself with people who are not deserving of you. Your marriage must work so that when you get to that point, you do not become isolated or begin to throw your wild oats everywhere. So your marriage must work because you need a companion. We are created to survive, to thrive, to live, and to bloom like that. Number 2, God created us and gave us parts of our body. There is the reproductive system. Now, that system of the body is created to function for a particular purpose. God made sex. It is ordained to be enjoyed in the confines of marriage. It is an exclusive preserve to be enjoyed in the confines. It's only permitted in the confines of marriage. So when people go to join themselves to other people sexually, the Bible says that the land will be filled with wickedness. That activity was exclusively ordained for marriage. It was not supposed to happen indiscriminately. God does not want it to happen indiscriminately because it is such a mystery. It is a coming together of two bodies, one person dissolving into another, one person pouring of his essence into another. And so that's why the Bible talks of two becoming one. So these two individuals become one in every sense of it, where there is no demarcation, especially in the spirit realm. When God looks down at these two people, he sees them as one because their essence, the liquid form of them, has been mingled. That is not an action to be done with any and everybody. It's not something to use anyhow. So, but when people get into that time and they are not in marriage and they begin to express themselves sexually with people around, there is a confusion in the spirit realm. So you find people joining themselves with other people, becoming one with this one and becoming one with that one and becoming one with the other one and becoming one with the other one and just joining together and causing confusion in their spiritual formation. The spiritual atmosphere is somehow contaminated when indiscriminate sex happens. But then, the human body was created to express feelings in that area. I am saying that there comes a certain time in a person's life where a person feels like expressing himself or herself in that area. And the only place in which the person can do that without sinning, without offending himself, without offending God and causing confusion for himself or herself, is in marriage. You know, when you read the scriptures, the Bible tells us that when people have indiscriminate sex, the land is filled with wickedness. It talks about the fact that the gate of a woman is a gate of hell. That is referring to the private part of a woman. So meaning that it's not a place you just go to any and anyhow. It is like a sanctified place, part of the body. It's not supposed to be taken for granted. And so sex is only permitted in the confines of marriage. But when people are not in marriage and they express themselves, in that area indiscriminately, they cause confusion and trouble for themselves. So for your life to be in tune with the way God created you to function, for your life to be the way that it is meant to be, and for you to function maximally, your marriage must work, because that is the only place in which you are permitted to freely express yourself sexually and not incur wrath and not be going against the tenets of your creation. So, whatever people do, be careful to ensure that your marriage works so that you will be able to freely express yourself in that area and be free before man and before God, and just even before yourself, for your own self, for your own well-being. You have to ensure that your marriage works so that you'll be able to enjoy sexual expression without going against the tenets of your creation, without going against the standards in which you were created, without going against the way God wants you to function. Number 3, which is, to me, the heaviest. I'm not saying the most important, but it is the heaviest. As we live on earth, in our life, in our journey of life, life is a journey from the cradle to the grave. So as we are born, we are moving. There comes a time in our life when it feels like everything is just working well and all is fine and good. We may not even understand certain things that we do. But as life winds down, as the evening approaches, the evening of our life, the twilight of our lives, where all is said, after all is said and done, where we are drawing to the close, then we begin to understand the importance of having a beautiful marriage. At that time, the bond that the man and his wife had created over the years, that is when they begin to enjoy it. That is when they will begin to feel the togetherness. They begin to feel the importance of the love and the beauty that they share. They begin to share they enjoy the good seeds that they have sown in that relationship. I'm talking about a time when in a person's life, the person has come to a point where probably there are some age-related issues where you do not have to eat this, you do not have to eat that. And then the person now begins to want the other person to be nice. I have seen situations where a man treated his wife poorly over the years, and then it comes to a time when life has worn down and the person needs to be treated nicely. Of course, the feeling of his wife had died years ago, and now she is just struggling to just be nice to the man. And she just finds herself fighting to be able to treat the person well so that the person can enjoy the last days of his life. I have seen situations where a person comes to a point after running around in his younger days and the wife tolerating all his excesses. She just lives for the sake of her children. And now the children are all grown and it's just herself enjoying her freedom. And now the man now wants to bond with her because, of course, all of those plays outside are no longer available. Now he wants to come back home. Of course, the wife is no longer emotionally available. That is why people think that at a certain age in a person's life, especially for the men, that the wife will be enjoying her life with the children, ignoring the man. I have seen stories and I have seen videos where people say that they abandon the man probably in the village or in one part of the world, and the woman is with her children in another part of the world. That's because in the earlier days, the man was just about himself only. He just thought that all he needed to do was just to provide for the family and was not emotionally available for his wife in particular. He was running around, bonding with people that were not necessary. And now that all of that is over, he now needs the companionship and the friendship of his wife. But she had closed that door years ago. So when it comes to that point, he begins to feel lonely and alone, stretching out and looking for comfort. I have seen situations where a woman has thrown her marriage away and felt that she didn't need to be in that kind of, she had no reason to stay, to make sacrifices for her marriage to work. After all, she's young, she's beautiful, and she can follow as many men as she wants. And then a time comes when the men no longer see her as deserving, when the men no longer want her. Of course, she has grown old. The men have also grown old. They don't need her anymore. They may have either gone to bond with their spouses and all, and then she is now alone, wanting that to have that one person that she will hold close to her bosom. And of course, the person is not available because when the person needed her, she was not there. She had left. So at that time in our lives is when the beauty of a faithful, fruitful marriage is enjoyed. It is at that time of our life that we see the importance of having a beautiful relationship between the husband and the wife that has lasted over the years, because at that time these two would have become very close friends. They know each other. I have heard people say, when I cough, she knows what I mean. I have heard people say, even in darkness, I know what you're thinking. Even in your sleep, I know what you're thinking. That's because they have come a long way and have created this serious bond between the two of them, to the extent where it feels as if it's telepathy, where the other one almost knows what the other person is thinking. At that time, these two will have a robust relationship and they will be together. They will enjoy this friendship. Then they will be aging together, and it will be a time to look back at all the years of toil and struggles and hustle and just be able to unwind and enjoy the companionship of the person with whom you have done life with over the years. So these are the three reasons that I have seen, that I have been able to study and to see the reason why we must ensure that our marriage works, that our marriage is happy, that we are sowing seeds, beautiful seeds, enduring seeds in our marriage, treating your spouse the way he or she deserves to be treated the way he or she wants to be treated, so that as time goes, your bond will become unbreakable and the two of you will be friends until death do you part. I hope you learned something watching this video today. I'll see you again next time. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Bye.